Welcome to the Bottom Line Liberia.
This is the Bottom Line Liberia. Join us on Facebook, YouTube and online radio. This is the Bottom Line Liberia. Join us on Facebook.
And yes, welcome to the Bottom Line Liberia. Today is the 14th of June, 2024. And tonight we're going to have a very, very interesting discussion. It's not one of those usual political discussions that we normally have. We're going to have a guest that will be telling us exactly about what he's doing and what are the projects that he's undertaking and how useful they are to Liberia. And I also have a house full of hosts. We have Francis Mensah from Sweden and also Paul the Lord Churley from England, London to be specific. And I'm here in Norway, and our guest is actually a Liberian living in Germany, but I think, I'm not too sure, you will hear from him. I think he's somewhere on the grounds in Liberia, in the motherland, so he will be telling us exactly what he's doing. But let me say welcome to you, Francis. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, Oliver. Thanks. Thanks for the show tonight. All is well, with me. And how is your end?
Well, my end is good. It's been raining. The weather is being a little bit disappointing. But in between, we can have a flash of sun, and then all of a sudden it becomes. I haven't been outside for the past 1 hour or 2 hours now, so I don't know how I stay outside. But it's not cold. I mean, that's a good news. It's a normal weather like Liberia, where it's raining. It's not cold, but it's raining, and it's not too hot. So I think it's good. And everything else is good, health-wise and whatever. And how is your side too? I know it will not be too different from me.
Certainly. We be having rainfall, shower on my way from work this after this evening. I mean, we got beaten by the rain, man. It was the skies were opening down, falling on us, and it's quite a surprise. It should be summer, but again, around this time of the year, we call it midsummer. There's not a midsummer. The midsummer is next in I think 2 weeks from now. So but it's surprising that June is raining. We saw this climate change is very real, so we shouldn't take it for granted.
Yeah, but I think let's be fair. It was in May we had a lot of sunshine, and so you can have your cake and eat it. So normally we shouldn't have a lot of sunshine in May, but then we had. So we got to pay for it. Like a colleague of mine said at work, he said we paid for the sunshine we had 2 weeks ago. But guys, if you're watching us from Liberia, this is the Bottom Line Liberia. We come to you every Tuesday and Friday, and today is the Friday's edition. This 14th day of June. Paul, welcome. How are you?
Well, good evening, gentlemen. I'm great. It's good to be back here on the Friday edition. I'm great. And how your end? How are you, Francis?
Okay, man. We should be asking you, how's your end, because you are the friend of the King Charles.
Oh man, the thing is we kind of relaxed because the election in July, the Labour Party against the Conservative. It seems to me that the Labour Party is going to win this election after 14 years of being in opposition. Although I support the Labour Party, and to amaze you all, there is a Liberian girl who is also contesting to be member of parliament, and she is called Miata Famule. So watch out for that name. It's H. Boema Famule Doctor. She's running to be MP. So she once upon a time served under David Cameron, the former prime minister, as economic advisor. Now she's going to be MP. Watch out for that name, Miata Famule.
Well, it's good that you support the Labour Party. I'm also a member of the Labour Party. In fact, I serve on a very important committee, or two committees. So you know, it's good that we're not really involved in politics in Liberia. And the reason why sometimes, guys, here before going to the show, the reason why sometimes we sit here abroad, we're not in Liberia, but we see what's happening in Liberia and we discuss some of these issues is that we are on the other side, where at least these people are not perfect, but at least they try to abide by the rules. Everybody can break the rules, but they try to abide by the rules because they know that there are consequences for breaking the rules. And so some of us in the Liveland, okay, imagine little boy from way, poor boy from way, Bongonima, I hear I in the people party, I can put my head on, they recognize me, I make statement, I make decision. But we say the same thing because this is something that we see, it works. It's not impossible for us in Africa or in Liberia. When we try to talk about it, people say, oh, blah, blah, blah. You know, what they call experience. If we didn't experience these things here, we will not talk about it. So they are real. It can happen. Democracy is real. Rule of law is real.
Yeah.
Abiding by the rules is real. And serving your people when you are elected is real. So guys, let's not waste time. If you join us for the first time, we say welcome. And please share the show. Just invite somebody. Go to your place and share it. And then let's have people to talk. Francis, it's over to you. If you're ready, we can bring in our guests.
Oh, certainly, yeah, guys. Well, let's say welcome to our listening viewers, our audience we have around the world. Tonight will be an interesting interactive program. We have with us tonight as our guest, Mr. Usmanier. He's a real estate investment advisor. He's a high-profile guy in the real estate business in Germany. So we're having tonight as our guest. He will be giving us some insight as to how the real estate, industry can be, developed in Liberia, and how people can, go about, constructing their homes. So, yeah, I mean, sit back, grab your popcorns, and invite your friends. Yeah. So, welcome, Mr. Yin. Usman.
Yeah.
He's currently in Liberia. So we have him as our guest tonight. You have questions. We'll be having, as I stated, we'll be having a very interactive discussion tonight. So, guys, let's welcome Mr. Usman here to the program.
Thank you
Okay,
very much.
Mr. Yen, welcome. I hope I got a name correct. Yen or Yen?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Welcome.
Yeah.
And welcome. This is the Portland Liberia where we discuss the issue. That tonight I don't know whether we'll bring in politics, but here we do politics, we do everything. We talk about human interest, we talk about business, like what we're going to be talking about tonight. And we are very honest in what we do. We say it the way it is. And besides that, we hold to the rule of law. We respect each other's here. If I disagree with you, I will disagree with you respectfully and respect our guests to do this thing. Even people who watch us, we don't encourage them to insult anybody. So that's the only ground rule we have on our show. And feel free to interact with us. You can ask a question as well. So it's not like this is a police station where we ask you, you got to answer no. You can say I know or I don't know. But also, I don't know if you have any word for Mr. Yen.
Well,
Usman.
Good evening, Mr. Usman. Is that right, Usman? Yeah. Welcome to the bottom line discussion. Yeah.
Let's get it straight before we go further. Which one is the last name, Nye or Usman?
The last name is Nye. The first name is Usman.
All right. Welcome to the bottom line. So it's good to have you on the show tonight. Looking forward to the discussion.
Oh, okay, guys. Tonight we running an hour show, and strictly on topics surrounding real estate, opportunities, and how people can seek advice, or we can seek advice from Mr. Yan in that respect. So, Mr. Yan, welcome to the show. First of all, tell us a little bit about yourself, your little background, and yeah.
Okay, then I don't know how far I should go. Let me just start from the beginning. But let me first clear up something. I always get the question: are you Liberian? Yes, I am. I was born in Egypt, and I grew up in Germany throughout. So I never lived in Liberia. It's just the last 5 years I've been going back and forth in Liberia. I always spend like 4 to 6 weeks in a row, maybe twice, 3 times a year. And that was just the past 5 years. So which means before that, I've never been in Liberia. It's just that my passport I was holding that was making me Liberian. That's it. Okay. So because people always get to ask me based on my accent, oh, is he Nigerian? Is he Ghanaian? Is he Kenyan? And so on and so forth. But nobody asked me if I'm Liberian. So yes, I am Liberian, first of all. Let me just clarify this from the beginning. Good. What's my background? Again, I was born in Egypt. I'm 46 years old, 2 kids. I moved to Germany when I was by the age of 8.5. I've been living in our former capital city, which is Bonn. Now we have a new capital city since several years, which is Berlin. I went to school here, studied, played football, lived my entire life in Germany. Studied business administration as well as political science. Then I went ahead and did several certificates where I got a degree as a financial service advisor, as an insurance advisor. Then I got several other degrees in real estate investments and finance, real estate management, and several other real estate topics. I myself am a real estate investment advisor. I've been advising clients all over the world, actually, with purchases, mostly private clients. I would say high net worth individuals, one should add, who are somewhere in China, US, India, Mexico, and so on and so forth, and are interested in buying properties in Germany. They mostly reach out to me through the developer or through the estate agencies, and I will help them get the loans in Germany. And I also help them in regards to which property is adequate based on their personal, let's say, requirements, if I so. Yeah.
Okay. Quickly. So look. Just about. Because we are speaking to Liberians. Your audience are Liberians, and so we want to we will take at least 5 minutes to go deeper into. Your parents. How come you went to Egypt and you moved to Germany? So let's set the basis for our people to get to know that you're Liberian strictly.
Yeah. Okay, My father was a diplomat, which means he was working with the Liberian embassy in Egypt. Initially, there he was a chancellor, and I was born in Egypt. Stayed there for around 8.5 years, and then he got transferred to Germany, where he was then also continued to be chancellor for a certain amount of time. We were living in Germany, then the war broke out, means we were forced to stay in Germany. And he was there still managing the embassy. And we kids went to school. Uh, After school, I did my A levels. Then I went on to study. I must admit, I spent a long time studying, but nevertheless, it paid off. Yeah, but then when my parents left Germany, I think he had to go to Libya. Yeah, he was then transferred to Libya. But then we continued and stayed in Germany, we kids, and we studied in Germany. So I would say the time in Germany is or was or is one of both was really really good. Growing up in Germany as a Liberian, you do not have many Liberians, unfortunately. I mean, while we were growing up within our area, there were very very few. Those Liberians mostly in the north, which is in Hamburg, etc., in those areas, maybe in Duisburg as well, but we never had like any direct contact. But I always enjoyed going to the different Liberian events, which means they always had parties. We were kids by then, but it was always fun to see how the Liberians were interacting with each other. And yeah, it was just fun to me. It was exciting. Uh, yeah, and so that's how, let's say, the connection to Liberia was always there.
I think your story is very quite interesting. A lot of Liberians listening to you will find that very interesting. But let me bring you to the business aspect of what we're here for. Now, listen.
Yeah.
I know, because I live in the West as well. It's not very It's not very easy for the quote unquote color people like us to beat the barrier, to always hit the top.
Yeah.
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 Even if you're born here, like you were born in the West, it's not very
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
have you
Yeah.
managed over the years to succeed? What are your tricks? What have you done differently?
Um, I would say, let me just not only say it is me alone. Let me just say the people I surrounded myself with. Because again, I had friends from Cameroon, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, and other African countries, and the mindset was never like, okay, I'm black, which means I cannot succeed. There's always this idea, oh, because you're black, you wouldn't have a chance there, and so on and so forth. That was never my mindset. My mindset was that I will make it, and I was surrounded by people who would always say we are going to make it regardless what we're doing. And that was the bottom line idea. And of course, I mean, I enter like meetings, I enter events where, let's say, most of the times I'm the only black person in the room. But nevertheless, I mean, I believe that makes me exciting. you know? So I wouldn't say enter the room and feel like intimidated. Oh, okay, there's so many white people and so on. But no, I mean, and I don't even think they themselves had the idea. Oh, okay, he's the only black person, because we interacted as colleagues. Whether I'm in the lecture room, whether I'm in the meetings, and so on and so forth, it was never the idea. Oh, you're black, you're African, or whatever. So I did not, of course, yes, I experienced privately some negative things, but nevertheless, I mean, I wouldn't allow this to get into my business relations. Um, so, I mean, this is how I basically managed to go through. I had the idea, I knew what I wanted to do from the beginning on. No, actually, I did. It was quite interesting. My father was always watching news, and I always enjoyed the way the people were dressed, always in suits. So for me, it's just that I said I want to do something where I'm wearing a suit. That's all. So I, I managed to jump into real estate, but I found real estate very exciting. I mean, while I was studying, I was working with a newspaper agency which was creating news feeds for a larger mortgage company in Germany. I was working for one of the largest facility managers while I was studying. I was also working for one of the larger estate agencies in Germany, worldwide actually, while I was studying. So I was interacting with all those fields while I was studying, and it made it somehow easier for me. I wasn't afraid to jump in. I wasn't using me being black as something not to participate and get into or do what I want to do. Yeah. So
Okay,
that's
before my
my
colleagues
secret.
coming, I think each of us will have about two questions or more. But let me get to my
Yeah.
second question. The second one has to do with your own business. Do you own and sell? Do you own, buy, and sell properties in Germany now?
Okay. No, we do not own properties. Let's say my company, what we do is that we help clients finance their properties, right? Let's just say foreigners or people who are not residents in Germany, they have difficulties getting loans, right? And not only Germany, even if it's Norway or it's Sweden, I mean, any European country. And if you're not a resident within that country, you might have difficulties. Now, there's a mortgage credit directive, the law that was being passed, and if I took my time, if you study the law and read through the terms and conditions within that law, there are some, let me just call them loopholes, right? So, which means I went ahead and to various banks and say, okay, based on this law, what is your understanding? Can we allow foreigners or non-residents to invest or buy properties in Germany? Yes, buy properties, everybody can buy, but can they finance those properties through a German bank? So I managed to find several banks who would be willing to go ahead and finance those non-residents. And so anytime those non-residents are interested in buying a property, most of them have cash down payment, so they can go ahead and buy it cash. But some would rather want to go ahead and take out a loan, which is, I believe, much more sensible, simply just to leverage the return. And simply just help them get the loans to finance those properties. Now, the properties can be anywhere in Germany, and I would say in my case, it's mostly the major cities. So that's what they are interested in, and those are projects I then accompany. Yeah, but I don't sell property. No.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, great introduction, and also I believe you're in Liberia right now as you speak.
Yes, I am.
So you tend to establish something in Liberia. If if you go into, how would that transition be like with all your years in Germany and going to Liberia, the terrain that you may not know that well? Do you
Yeah.
think this would work in Liberia?
Well, I would say I would, it would be a mistake if I would go ahead and say, let me just copy paste and say exactly what I'm doing in Germany is going to work in Liberia. That's never going to happen, because the Liberian economy is far different than the German economy. The terms and conditions, regulations are much different. So again, you have to deal with a different playground. But nevertheless, real estate is real estate. I always say numbers are numbers. So if
Right.
somebody wants to invest into a property which costs an amount X and you're receiving a rent of an amount Y, you simply just need to do the maths and find out, okay, does it make sense to invest in this property? Is your return accordingly high, yes or no? So it doesn't matter where you're investing, it's always the same calculation that one is doing. This is my view, and I believe it's the right view. but this makes it quite simple. And what I also believe is that my 5 years being in Liberia, in and out. Of course, I'm just not here just for fun. I'm also being engaged with other real estate specialists, with banks, having conversations and trying to get a good understanding. And I believe I do have a decent understanding of how real estate works in Liberia. Um, I also believe that something in regards coming up as communities, engaging as a community to build together. I think this is something that's not so widespread in Liberia and can be somehow developed. What do I mean by building in communities? What I'm doing right now is I set up a company called Breaks. I registered a company called Breaks in Liberia, and we're now simply just doing a survey. We want to know what are the needs and wants of working Liberians, which means here in Liberia as well as in the diaspora. All those who are working, earning a certain amount of income, based on the income, we can simply calculate how much property can you afford, right? And now we would simply just get all this information from a good set amount of people. Now, again, you can cluster those information. You say, okay, there are people who maybe can afford properties of a value of 20,000, those, there are others by 30,000, and so on and so forth. And by clustering those people and finding out, that would be my job, what I always do in Germany. How can we best finance those projects? whether it's through cooperative. Cooperative, basically, a group of people come together and engage in a project, whether it's through an investor or whether it's through borrowing funds from a bank or you have your cash. So there are different ideas that we're trying to follow right now. But before we move forward, we want to do the survey and simply just understand what are the wants and needs of working Liberians. Yeah.
Right. Let me follow. After you've done your research, and if the market is viable in Liberia, because I know people in Liberia, because of unemployment, people don't take loan to say they uh, want to get into real estate business. You tend to build properties that people can look at instead of in the West here, people the properties are already built. In Liberia, it's a totally different ball game. Are you tend to build property over there that you know out to people?
Yeah. So this is one of the ideas that we have, but again, it's always based on the survey, the results of the survey. But one of the ideas is then now with the survey, we would like to engage investors, potential investors, right? Again, in my case, because I've been working with high net worth individuals, I let's say I have some good contacts or really good contacts who are actually already interested now. They're basically waiting for some results from my end, right? So one idea is the idea of rent to buy. Okay. Now, not everybody can go to a bank. You're right, and obtain a loan from a bank here in Liberia, but they were very much interested in the concept of initially renting for a certain period of time, and after some time, they will have sufficient funds simply just to pay off the property, right? So this is also one of the concepts that we're thinking of, and where, of course, an investor will be needed, and this is something that I will get engaged in. Yeah.
Back to you, Francis.
Yes, I think I just went through the survey. I mean, the questionnaire seems to be very quite interesting. Uh, my interest is at the cooperative level, uh, bringing Liberians together, from different communities, different professions, forming a cooperative to, get in housing. So, what would be your advice if a group of Liberians come together, with a mutual interest of building units and for sale or for rent, whatever? What would be your advice to that? Because this is we have people from different backgrounds. I mean, you should set a dedicated balance in terms of avoiding that. So, what would be your advice in that direction? Because yeah, I'm not a man. No, not one person coming with the millions of dollars investing them. There's a group of people. So, what would be your advice to
Yeah.
the group of people?
Yeah. Now, again, it would simply is something directed out of the survey, but I would say my advice would be that if one is going to come together as a cooperative, which means a cooperative in our case would be at least 50 people, 50 households, one can say, interested in coming together and building, let's say, a small community. Let me just say, for example, in Marshall, right? Marshall, you have somewhere like 5 acres to 10 acres, and on this 10 acres, we want to build a community with 50 units. Okay, but one most important thing is that one needs to have a certain amount of down payment, right? So let's just say if you are planning to build a property of 30,000 euros, at least have 30% of a down payment, which would make it more attractive, not only for the single, but also for the group, because we want to have something like a homogeneous group where a certain amount of down payment is brought in from each and every party, and whatever outstanding amount, I'm already in touch with financing institute here in Liberia, and I asked them, okay, what if one comes together as a cooperative? Could that be an idea where you would finance the remaining 70%? They are quite interesting, but again, they're simply just waiting for the concept. So again, it's always deriving from the survey. Another advice I would give is that check your financial situation. What do I mean by that? Very simple. Just do simple bookkeeping. What's my income? What are my expenses? And how much free liquidity do I have? And will this free liquidity allow me to invest a certain portion on a monthly basis in any property I would like to buy? So these are very simple calculations that one can do for themselves. If you cannot do it by yourself and you need somebody to speak to, one can always reach out to me, where we simply just have the conversation of how much property can you actually afford. Yeah, it's always good to have all those conversations beforehand instead of just jumping into the property and say, oh, I'm just interested, it looks very well. There are so many information, so many things one has to acquire beforehand in order before getting into any kind of investment. That would be my and my advice, and this is why we are here, in order to give this to guide, I would say, those who are interested. Yeah.
Yeah, Linford, do you have any question?
Okay, I'm like following you and just imagining how it will work for Liberia, as they work here, or when I mean they, the system works here in Europe. Now,
Mm,
if you talk about corporation, and that's one of the areas where my mind goes to, because if people come in group, my grandfather used to say when the birds fly in group, the sound of the wing is heavier, you know.
yeah.
So if one pigeon can fly past you, it can be, or if they can thousands of them, you'll hear that sound. So if a group
Yeah.
of people, yeah, some of them got
Mm,
properties, and when I mean property, land, and some got physical cash. If they all come to Liberia, together in Liberia, and they say, wait, listen, we want to form a corporate, we want to do this. What are those things that will be required of people? Do they have to have physical cash to come together to say, okay, this is my portion, this is my portion, or can they contribute? Somebody say, I got a big piece of land. All I need is people with money to come and build. And at the end of the day, we'll have, um, one person can get and what the other person can get. How is it going to work? The corporation.
yeah, yeah. Well, let me just get back to Germany or Europe. Now, if you see, take a look at those multiple family houses, right? You see people owning each small apartments within that building. That's actually already a cooperative. Those are people coming together for a certain purpose. Now, each and everyone owns an apartment within the building, and those apartments have maybe different values, right? So again, and it would be the same or a similar concept where you have a piece of land, and people say, yes, we are willing to go ahead and build on that land. Now, my belief is, and which happens very often. I would, let's say Mr. X goes ahead and buys a piece of land in Marshall, built in Marshall for himself. Wonderful. He has a nice mansion. Everything is wonderful. Mr. Y does the same, and everybody does the same on their own. But now, if you take a look at the roads in between, the waste management, uh, everything else, managing this community, everybody needs to manage it on their own, right? So why don't you come together as a cooperative and then say, okay, we are building together within this area, and we'll set up our own community where we have a facility management to manage all this on our behalf. I think it will be, financially speaking, much more lucrative for each individual, and I would say even for the community idea. Everybody will feel responsible for this community. And this is basically the idea, and I believe it is something that can function in Liberia. It can function. One just needs a set of people who are willing to come together. Now, it doesn't matter if one earns $10,000 per month, the other earns 5,000, the other earns. It doesn't matter how much income they own, because again, you are owning your own piece of land. But it's just a community idea to keep this community managed in a proper order. And I believe it can work. It will work.
Right. I believe it can work. It will work. That is a typical businessman speaking, because they see things and then they venture into it, they spend their money. You talk about right to buy, which sound good for will sound good for many Liberians because of the low income. The right to buy, those, if you establish something like that in Liberia, just give our audience a little bit, what in your thought, how much would that be going for the example? Because in the West, people buy property for 15 years, 20 years, the BP maybe 500 euro a month or something. What are you looking at to achieve something like that, the right to buy? And also, let me throw that one in, with the legal system in Liberia not too strong, how are you going to blend all of this into that investment?
Yeah, I think you made a good point. Now, the legality of owning a property. This is the most important point. So, uh, getting the land, we need to be 100% sure that the land that we are acquiring, we're first of all acquiring from the rightful owner. And after doing so, the next step would be, if we're building as a community, to partition the land, right? So we have to set, again, we have a floor plan. Everybody knows, okay, I want to build my property in this area, and the other person wants to build in this area. We have to partition the land at a certain point on time. And that, again, that will be the easier step, I would say, to go ahead, again, just call in a surveyor. The surveyor will partition the land. Everybody knows, okay, out of this entire big land, my portion is on this end or on that end. Yeah. So, but that will be the easier part. The first part is the legality of obtaining a land, to make sure that you're buying from the rightful owner. So this is something that, again, I would say take our time. There's no rush. But again, the survey is going to determine where to build, because the people around me tell us where are they interested in building. So we are not going to take the approach by saying, oh, okay, we find that there's a land in a certain area, and we want to go ahead and let's say, ask clients to build there. We want to rather take the other approach, where we say the cooperative, again, very important, they are the ones making the decision where would they like to live. And our job would be to search for an adequate plot within that specific area. That will be the next thing. I forgot your first question. Sorry, I was concentrating on the legality, but
It's
you
the
asked.
right to buy, and because we know that in the West, the property may be going for maybe 250,000, but
Yeah,
the person will be in there for X number of years, and they'll be paying maybe 700 or 900. How will it be like
yeah,
in Liberia with the
yeah.
economic situation on the ground?
Okay, okay. Now in Liberia specifically, now, I mean, there's a certain regulation which says, okay, a certain percentage. I mean, if you're dealing with a bank, a certain percentage of your income, or up to a maximum 33% of your income, should go into a loan, right? It should not go beyond that amount. So what do we do? If I already know just 23% of the income is allowed to go with into a property, I can simply calculate backwards by saying, okay, if, let me just say some figures. Somebody who's earning $500 per month, right? Now only 33% of his income is allowed to go into such a property. Based on this 33%, we can now calculate upwards what should could be the maximum property value for such a person, right? Now, simply somebody who's earned 10,000, this with 10,000, sorry, 1,000 per month. You're earning 1,000 per month, 33% of your income can go into a mortgage or into a monthly payment, right? Then we can calculate upwards how much property can you afford. Such a person can afford a property up to 20,000. And how long will you need to pay it back? We calculated, will you have a duration from 5 to 8 years to pay back your property. Yeah. So again, those are calculations that we would have to make, and it's only based on the person's income and the free liquidity the person has in that can go into such a property. That would always determine the maximum price you can afford.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Ahmed, you have a very expert knowledge of the real estate, industry. Uh, what are the prospects of having, such an investment opportunities such as industry in Liberia? What is the growth of it? What's the prospect of it? Booming in Liberia because Paul said it right that Liberia has a problem with a middle class. We don't have a middle class, so it is a long term uh, investment uh,
Yeah.
prospect that you intend to get
Yeah.
involved into. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
My aim is long term. Yeah. So it's nothing that we want to go in and say, okay, we want to do it short-term investments, just get in and get in, sell and go out. No, the idea is to accompany those communities on a long period of time. Why is it important? When you're building real estate, the construction price is not the major price. Managing the property over the years, that's where the cost lies. And one needs to manage properties over the years, manage it properly, right? Because by managing a property, you can save so much in costs. So that's actually the bulk of the your spendings are going in. People always believe, oh, I'm spending maybe 30,000 on my property right now, or 40 or 50 whatsoever, and that's the bulk of the money. No, the bulk of the money is going into managing the property over the years, and that should be managed properly. That's why we're also partnering with a facility management, where we'll go ahead and help people manage their properties properly. Yeah. I had one conversation the last time. There was somebody who they had to, oh yeah, they were renting out their apartment to uh, uh, a tenant. Now, the tenant had been paying them a certain rent per month. Now, the rents in Liberia are not that high, but they were generating this rent for the over 5 years' time. Now, the person is moving out. The property has to be refurbished. And basically, all the money you have accumulated over the past 5 years, you have to use that same amount to put it back into the property to refurbish the property. You haven't made any gains, right? So, what if you have a proper facility management that continuously manages your property in a certain way? Make sure that damages are not so out of the extraordinary, right? You wouldn't have to put in all the money that you've collected over 5 years into the property again, maybe less, just a half, right? So those are things. Again, our perspective is a long-term perspective, and I believe if one really wants to work with working Liberians, it should be within a long-term perspective. And you mentioned, yes, Liberia doesn't have such a large middle class. In Germany, what do we always say? Not everybody can afford to buy a property. So that should be very clear. So it is not that everybody must put themselves, oh, I need to own a property. Yes, we all have this wish to own a property, but you need to be financially stable in order to own a property. One cannot just have the wish, yes, I want to own a property, and then when you own a property, then basically the property is your grave. You cannot do anything else. You're just working to pay off your loan or pay off the property. That doesn't make sense at the end of the day. Yeah. So I in our case, sorry, I see there's a question coming.
Yeah.
I'm just talking.
No. It's good. It's good because the reason you're here is to explain to us. We know we're in different professions here, so we'll have one like you who is, like I said, I keep following you. It's like I'm sitting in a classroom and just taking notes. But Mr. Yan,
Yeah.
let me honor this part. Considering the justice system in Liberia and all these kind of things, where your own property, somebody will sell it four, five people, and you'll be fighting up and down the case. The question I want to ask is, you've been in Liberia at least going in and out, in and out. Have you established contact with people of similar mind or similar mindset like you? Because I know a couple of people who are also living in America, but they are in the real estate business. Are you guys willing
Yeah.
to work together, or is
Yeah.
everybody doing good thing? That's the first part of the question. The second part of the question is, um, how is it easy? Because I believe, besides you, in Europe and the other group in America, and I guess there are other several groups around doing the same real estate business. And then there are people on the ground who are also doing the same business. How easy is it for you to enter that market? So the first question is whether you're cooperating with people on the ground or people from different groups doing the same thing, and how easy is it for you to enter the market?
Yeah. First of all, I would say yes. One can never do anything alone. So me getting into Liberia was important, extremely important for me to meet people on ground who are also into real estate and who have a certain vision, right? And who have been working for quite a while successfully as well. So yes, I got together with such people, got their advice, sat down to understand real estate in Liberia much better than before. And it was extremely important because again, I can come with my ideas from Liberia, from Germany, and say, oh, okay, this is what I want to do. It's going to work, etc. But then, no, it might be different. So I had to get to sit down with other specialists. I also met a quite interesting guy from Atlanta. I believe he's from Atlanta. Yeah, he's having a really, really interesting project in Liberia, and he's doing very well. Got together with him. Anytime he's here in Liberia, we always sit down, we exchange, discuss real estate, because that's what I do most of the time. Discuss real estate, how it's working, how his project is working. I also share my ideas and to get the feedback. What does he think of the idea of getting people together, doing the survey, etc. So the feedback is actually quite positive. Now, of course, you meet like bad apples within, but then it's just to distance yourself away from them. I always say one thing that I wouldn't change because I always get it a lot. People say, "Oh, you're in Liberia. We have to do it the Liberian way." I say, "Yes, I am in Liberia, but I have a certain mindset of how I want to do it. I want to do it the Liberian way."
Well, the real Liberia is setting in now.
I think somebody interrupted
Yeah, I
his
think
phone.
somebody's calling him.
Yeah, you will come back. But this
Yeah.
is
Should,
interesting.
and if it works, it works. If not, then we try something else.
Well, I think he will come back. But
It's-
guys, okay, sorry,
Yeah.
Mr. Yeah, you back with us, right?
Yes. I was gone briefly. Yeah. Well, basically, what I'm saying is that I mean, I have a mindset of how things should work. I have vast experience of working in Germany, where I'll say the real estate market is really top class. I think there's some things from Liberia that you can also maybe learn from my end, and we can simply just exchange. So on that end, on the other end, to the second question was how easy it is to get into the market. Um, I don't know. My thinking is it's the same way I entered the real estate market in Germany. You were asking me, okay, was it difficult being the only black person to enter? I do not see barriers. I just see opportunities actually. So this is how I function. When I get in there, I see something is not, doesn't look in properly. I say, okay, but there's something one could do there. I mean, those are opportunities. Those are ideas that one can come up with. And the way I see Liberia is very segmented. It's like everybody is doing their own somehow, bit by bit. I'm not saying they're doing it wrong, but there's nevertheless they're doing it on their own. I believe there's a way that groups can come together and maybe bring some ideas forward. So, is it difficult to enter into the real estate market? For me, as somebody who has knowledge in real estate, I do not see it as difficult. I could basically go to any country, I believe, and enter in any real estate market within that country. So, as somebody who is not a real estate professional, but let me also say add something. Not because I'm a real estate professional, which means I'm the one who has the greatest knowledge. Everybody can do real estate, I believe, but they need a concept behind. If you go without a concept, you might end up failing. You need an idea, you need a concept, and you need a strong team, I would say.
Okay, let me squeeze one in quickly, then my colleagues can come in.
Yeah.
There may be this guy say, "Oh, look, listen, I used to be working and I bought land. They land is sitting, and then I lost my job or something happened, and I cannot develop this land. Can you help to facilitate loan for me, or can you develop my property with building, and then we either rent it out, and then you start to get your money back? Can that work in your case?
Well,
I'm looking at the
within
typical
your
Liberian scenario. I'm looking at the typical
no,
Liberian scenario where maybe a guy was in the
yeah,
government and he used to spend money, he bought land, all of
yeah.
a sudden government change, he didn't get money again, and then they're broke. Yes, and that, but they land there and he want bills on it. Then he
Yeah.
say, oh, but I think this is good
Well,
opportunity.
well, I would say for the person, yes, you have the land, but if you want to go ahead and take up a loan or have somebody invested in your on your land, I would say again, of course, you have the land first. The question is, how do you want to be invested? Do you still want to own the land, which means you're leasing it, so allowing somebody to build, which happens quite often. I'm not very fond of this idea. I don't believe people living in diaspora, for example, would be very interested in leasing a land. There's some who do, which is wonderful, but they might want to own the land. But I would say ultimately for the person who doesn't have any income anymore, but you just have the land, the best thing you could do is to sell. Because again, which bank wants to work with you? I mean, you didn't have an income, so banks depend on running income. They don't depend on, and of course, you can see the rent as a running income. But again, that's a risk for a bank just to put money into your project and simply just depend on your rent. No, they rather want to take your salary as a running income. So, such a person, the only thing that would be interesting for us now, if somebody in such a person with a larger portion of land. So we are not interested in one lot, two lots, etc. We're rather interested in a larger portion of land because our aim is community, and we are not aiming in just developing one portion or one piece of land. No, that's not our aim. Yeah, yeah,
President, you're muted.
Mr. Yeah, we have gone a little over the halfway mark. We got
wow,
like 8 more minutes to go to the show, so I think we'll take a break. And do we have any link for Paul? Do we have any questions there from our viewers? So, Mr.
Well, we
Yank and uh,
so far I don't see any question on my dashboard yet, but we just want to welcome one or two people. Daniel Draper, my friend, he's from Northampton in the UK. He's watching, and he says he's very interested in the topic. And for and also a host of people watching us from Liberia. So if any of you have questions, you could just drop it, and we can ask our guests. But if you do not have question, uh, then that's it. But I think Mr. Yen has been very clear here with all of this explanation. For me, no doubt, it's like I'm sitting in the classroom, and so even if he was my teacher now to come with a test, I think I'll be able to score some mark because I'm closely following him. Okay. So,
great.
Paul,
I've got one question, and I just want him to clarify. I have a property in Liberia, and look, you doing your survey, and I want to give it to your company to sell, or I mean, the same right to buy. What what the advice we give our audience that people who be looking at that direction, that live in the diaspora and want to do business with your company?
Yeah, yeah. Um, Maybe don't rephrase. Now, of course, I can lead you or direct you in a direction. If you have a property, you want to sell it, and you're looking for a company to deal with the sales. Again, we are not engaged in sales of properties. What we are actually really interested in is, for example, I got to meet a lady from Sweden who lives in Sweden. She's a Liberian, and she has 5 acres of land. Now, this is something which is quite interesting for us. So we are looking for individuals with larger piece of land. Why? Because those lands should be able to host a good amount of buyers. Again, the aim is always community building. So people with a large amount of land, those are people that are interesting for us, who can definitely reach out to us. They might not have the funds to develop that land, but they might be interested in something like this cooperative coming in and building on that land. It's also beneficial. Why they would have to sell it ultimately, but it's something that's beneficial because right now to sell a land to an individual might be tricky, or to be selling portion of land to various individuals might also be tricky. And I believe if one sells this big amounts of land to a cooperative or a community, that might be something very interesting because you have one buyer who's buying the entire portion of land, and then we would just simply subdivide those. So this is what we're looking for: people with larger portion of land.
Are you looking into buying properties outside of Monrovia or in any of the leeward countries?
Let's just say ultimately that would be really the best idea to go out of Monrovia as well. But again, it all depends on what the survey tells us, where the people want to go to. So we are not going to dictate and say, okay, we're going to buy there, you have to follow us there. We simply want to get the people engaged as strongly as possible and understand what are they looking for and where can we go. So again, to answer your question, yes, out of Monrovia. I think in Monrovia will be quite expensive because everything is like taking now.
Yeah, and because the reason I ask you this question is a lot of people, including me, my family we have from both mother and father side, have very big piece of land everywhere, all around the place. But
Yeah,
the question is, number one, it's not in a certain limit; it's in the interior. So it will be there. The only purpose is to plant crops and other things, which is not valuable anyway, because nobody's buying it, okay, or nobody's buying the crops that you got there. Then somebody say, okay, well, we hear this man talking, maybe you can buy the land. But then if you buy the land, what can you do here? Because it's not in a certain limit. You can build houses there in the interior,
mm,
people will not want to rent it. So, I think
mm,
that's it.
mm.
One of the problems that people may be looking at.
Yeah,
But this
yeah,
question that we just got, I guess you want to address it, but there's this question that we just got. It says, are you willing, Paul, can you highlight that question? Okay. Say, are you willing or are you looking to buy farmland? It's almost similar to the same question I asked.
yeah. Well, we are concentrating on residential development, right? So we are not going to get engaged in agriculture because again, I do not know agriculture, so that's not my domain. Therefore, we are not going to get engaged into developing farmland. I mean, if sometimes we have land here in Germany where it's for a certain purpose, but it can be repurposed, if I can say so. So something like that is definitely possible. A place which is farmland, of course, you need to examine the land and see, okay, is it adequate to build on it, yes or no? Those are things we would have to do. But again, first of all, we're interested in land and we're interested in developing residential areas. That's it.
Okay, guys. I think we no, we will be doing our roundups. Mr. Yang, thank you for coming. So I just want to make an announcement here, open invitation to you to come to the 2026 celebration in your homeland on your own turf in Germany. There will
Yeah,
be abundant opportunities there for you to engage the Liberians coming from all around the world. I
yeah,
will repeat, all around the world, people are coming. So you can engage them, and then I think it will be
yeah,
uh, the platform for us to start working together uh, collectively. I mean, especially in the direction of having a cooperative where we can launch it as a launch pad there. So
yeah,
again, I want to welcome. No, it's an invitation extended to you and your
yeah.
crew can come to Germany, it works very. I mean, I think you always go. Why you pronounce it other? How do you call? Because you the very German. I mean, how do you call that?
Wolfsburg.
Now, Würzburg.
You see, the German, the German is different.
Oh, I think I'm cut off.
What's the occasion, Francis?
Würzburg.
Yeah, it's an Independence Day celebration. It's a 3-day event. On Friday is a meet and greet. On Saturday is the sports event. Then the formal indoor program followed by a ball. And on Sunday will be the grill, the barbecue outdoors.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it will be a 3-day event. So come, you meet Liberians there from all around the world. who have the financial capabilities,
Awesome.
capacity to get involved. So
The financial muscle.
So,
yeah,
Francis,
exactly.
which date in July for the sake of our audience, please?
Oh, from July 20th, it starts from Friday, July 26th to Sunday, the July 28th. So Friday is the meet and greet. We'll be having a AGM where we'll be discussing issues over the years and about EFLA and the Liberian community in Europe. On Saturday will be the sports event. There will be football, then followed by the indoors program, which starts around 8 o'clock to 4 a.m. in the morning.
Wow.
So yeah, so we come with your dancing shoes, come with your listening ears to go. It's not all about just dancing. We'll have our guest speaker, Honorable Amara Connor. We'll be having the Lord Children Pray from the UK, way from the UK coming in. Having Linford Guer, who is the Secretary General of EFLA. He will be coming from Norway, if God's willing. If it's so, yeah. So we will all be there. And so yeah, so spread the word. Our people in Liberia, if you want to come here, we want invitation. We can provide invitation for you. You will shoulder your own responsibility to buy your ticket and your hotel, but invitation can be available. Our friends in America and across in the other parts of the world. So, guys, yeah, we are across. We are on the hour mark now. So, yeah, we have our parting comments from Mr.
Well, for
Yen.
me, I just want to say a big thank you to Mr. Yen. And it's good that
Thank you.
I met somebody like you. And if you come to Germany to Wolfsburg, I think we'll have enough time to talk. I'm
Yeah.
interested. I'm in a totally different area, but every man, every bird must have a nest. So I think the real estate thing is very important. Um, and those of us in the diaspora, I think that's one area we should invest in. Even if you do invest in it, but try to make sure that you got something back home. Because you
Yeah.
can live in a well-made country, you can live anywhere for a long time. When you go to your own country, you start going to hotels, like, it doesn't sound good. So I think that's a very good undertaking, and I hope Liberians will see, like especially in the diaspora, they can work together, form this cooperative. And like Mr. Yen said, you didn't need $1 million to do it. Everybody can come together with understanding, like-mindedness, and then the project can go on. And I think,
Yeah.
it's going to succeed. And like I said, when you come to Germany, you're going to meet a host of Liberians, people from all over coming, and that would be one of the best time to, like Francis said, to launch your entire idea. And who knows, you might just have a lot of Liberians in the diaspora, especially in Europe, that will be interested, and you can kick off. So I want to say thank you for coming. The next time we'll bring you here on the show. We'll be discussing a lot of things, and so get ready. This is your home. This is your place. In fact, this platform is a European platform. The rest of the platform, the all in America, the spoon, the closing argument, the all in America. This is our own. We got to build it, and so we encourage all of our Liberian diasporans in Europe to be a part of this. Thank you for coming.
Thank you as
Yeah,
well.
Lord Paul Cholo play. So you can have a closing.
Yeah, I'll say thanks to Mr. Yen. It was a good discussion. I enjoyed it, and I think I'm looking forward to another discussion in the future. So, and
Sure.
my house off to you there in Liberia. I know it's rainy season, and you have a better internet. I know when it's raining, electricity, internet, everything shut down. But I'm surprised. So it's good to have you, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you in person in Germany if
Definitely.
you attend the occasion. So yeah, it was good
I'll be
having
there.
you.
Yeah,
Yes.
Mr.
Yeah.
Yen. Before thank you for coming. I mean, any words, comments for your audience, for our listening audience out there on to Jala Radio and TV, online and other
Yeah.
platforms.
Yeah, first of all, thank you to Bottom Line Liberia. It was really great being here. This is my first interview in on a Liberian platform. It was really fun. I hope
Also
that
history.
we proceed, we continue with this conversation. I think discussing real estate is very important. Some people to have better ideas on real estate. Again, I'm doing the survey. One can reach out to me or reach out to Bottom Line Liberia if possible to share the survey. That would be really great. We want to
Good.
question as many people as possible and get a good idea of in which direction one should best go with as many people as possible. That would be really great. Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
so on that note, I want to thank you so much, for appearing today on the show. You are indeed an expert in your field. There's no doubt. We were all uh, amused. We had no questions because you were so clear and to the point. So we look forward to having you here yet again, Mr. Yen Usman. I hope to see you in Germany. So
Thank you very
take
much.
care and then have a best day.
Okay, bye bye, everybody.
Bye.
Okay, guys. Mr. Nye is gone, but let's just go around.
Exactly. So that wrap up. So guys, what's the take? 2 minutes each. What's the take on the Mr. Yan's presentation?
Well, I think it was great. It's something that many Liberians will be looking forward to. And that eventually, imagine real estate is money making thing. People in Liberia, we because the population is so young, you find young people now want a better apartment and they want to buy, but they don't have the money. So what is eventually, I think it's a good thing for the country. It's something that I myself, you never know. Some of us don't want to buy land and build property over there, but those are things that Liberians in the diaspora will be looking forward to. And with that idea, I know when they put out something, it will be a better structure and the living condition may be similar thing that will live in Europe and America. So I think it's a good thing.
Well,
yeah.
When it comes to the real estate thing, I think Mr. Nye mentioned one thing that caught my ear when he said almost everybody even in Liberia or from the diaspora who are doing projects in Liberia, they're doing it individually. Because I live in Norway, I buy my little piece of land, I put one small kitchen there. Then Francis does the same thing to his land. But if a group of people, 4-5 guys say, look, my man, we can buy one big piece of land and put something there, and we all manage it. I think that will also serve, because at the end of the day, we all may have our individual places, but that place where the family, your children's children will, look at and say, oh, this is what, and like what he said, you see, you go in imagine, Paul, you live in London, someone, huge building, you think that one may be all that thing? No. For instance, in our Scandinavia, our buildings are different from England, but look at the huge blocks. You think that one may building? No, it can't be, it's not possible.
Cooperation.
So, put together, and that will be there for long. And I see sometimes we do the stupid thing. You go to the bank, you take loan, you go buy expensive car, 2023 car, 2024 car, then we clash. But if you take your loan and you get a apartment or you pay your house in Africa, it will be there. So a lot of young people do not look at that. They look at the glamour of driving a best car. Now we got electric car. You see, I stay on the streets a lot. I see young people. Their first job, you see them driving the electric car, they bluffing in my house. Hey, go. I was like this a long time ago, 20, 30 years ago, I was like this. Now, the older you get, the more you get sense. And then, people, we should be able to explain to people or educate people. And it was very good that Mr. Nye came here and some of what he said, I think I learned from it a lot. And I hope other Liberians will learn from it. And let Liberians in the diaspora or even at home begin to think in different directions than just going to the nightclub every day. You can have a good time, but make sure that You're thinking ahead, Paul and Francis. I think it was a good show.
Yeah, okay. On that note, I want to thank everybody, all our part, the panelists here, Paul and Linfo, for such a great show tonight. And I want to thank our our viewers out there and the Jala TV and radio and other radio stations that relay this program in Monrovia, uh, in Liberia as well. As a matter of fact, you can follow the program on our YouTube channel. That's you can always find a repeat of the program. So we will be back here on Tuesday. So want to thank you all. The July 26th celebration is coming up in Germany. The Liberians in Europe are having the Independence Day celebration. It's the European Liberian Diaspora. So hope to see you all in Germany. So guys,
Yeah.
So thank you, and we have to go.
Yeah.
Bye.